And we should be good. Welcome everybody. Yes, I am live. Just get logged in so I can monitor my channel. What I want to know is there too much background noise with my fan running? So, hold on a second here. My streams, audio. Okay, he'll be checking the audio here, then we should be good. Just gonna start calling this that. Turn this down. Okay. Yeah. Start mission. That'll take a minute. Jeez, I definitely feel like an idiot. I was wondering why I couldn't do these quests, and I had a quest that was outstanding still.
No. So I can't walk around the room. Yeah, no. He might have lost viewers.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay, my mic is boosted too much. Okay, I just reduced it a bit, so tell me if that's any better. Actually, I think I can fix this.
Turn it on low.
It is on low. Okay, this should be fixed in a minute. Let me turn this back up here. Wait 10 seconds. I'm actually going to listen to my own stream here. Sorry guys, I'm just checking the sound here real quick.
Hey, Rob. Let me ask you some weird things.
Let me turn this back up here. Wait 10 seconds. I'm actually going to listen to my own stream. Cool. Okay, we are good to go. Sorry about that. Greetings, guys. I look 20 years younger. Thanks. I'm only 27, so I'll take that as a compliment, I guess. Maybe. That too. So cool. We'll go with that. Knows if people start spamming stream, we're gonna cut it.
Aw, never mind. He said if we start spamming, he's gonna
Yes. Because this is serious.
your stream's serious.
They've always been serious. I help people. It's what I do best. Still a hiss in the background. Okay, hold on. Let me see here. Knows if people start spamming stream, we're gonna cut it. Here, this is actually what I'm gonna do. Hold on 1 second. Let me find. Do I have the Yeti plugged in? Hold on. Settings. Nope, not what I wanted. Yeti. Apply. Okay. Testing. Tell me if this is any better. So this is going to be a little bit behind, but I'm going to use my Yeti mic, and I'm going to see if the sound's any better.
What's it?
Settings.
Is that Hellfire?
So I'm listening to it here for a second. Testing. Tell me if this is any. No hissing. No hissing. I think we're good.
Ashes to ashes.
So let me turn down this. So, Ivan, first things first is I did shout you out in a video for video suggestions. So, definitely thank you guys very much on that. And then my mod here, Crackling Ice, he suggested me to review a product. This will be coming soon. I'm going to show you guys here in the stream. 120. So let me add screen share here for you guys. Display capture. Screen 2. Yeah, no, I should have all this set up right. That one. Okay. So here it is. It's the Master Liquid Light 120. So I don't have a lot to compare to it, but I'm going to compare against like the stock cooler. So the stock cooler, it's actually in the system behind me here. And let me make this a little bit bigger.
Flip the map. So
nope.
that, like,
There you go. My head was in the way. Yeah. So a little bit loud. It's making a weird sound. So I have a couple, like, interesting enough, I actually have a couple like Spire 1700 coolers, but I'm just gonna switch it out to that, so that'd be pretty cool. So let me switch you guys back over to my other screen here. I'm gonna test it on the 1500. The 1500 is getting a little bit toasty. The 1202 is getting a little bit toasty too. So, you know, I was running like 1.4 volts, so that's actually a little bit on the warm side. So, I would want to get a decent overclock if possible. But I'm gonna be selling that system pretty soon. So, that's next on the list. I really, guys, I really want to do Vega, but it's not going to be in the cards. I was debating getting a Vega 56. Here's my problem with it: is my card's worth $300 to $400 reselling it, my 1080 liquid, and if anything, I would have to get a Vega 64 because I wouldn't want to lose performance. So, okay, let's go do some World Quest because that'll get me like probably the 109 almost. So, for those who don't know, I did make a Death Knight here. She's at 107 right now, so. But, let me see if there's anything else. I saw what's his name here? Yeah. So, I'm bringing up my comments here. I want to show you guys this real quick. So, looks like he finally finished his build. And he knows when I play WoW, doesn't want to go past 3.7. Do you know how to force the CPU to boost the first two cores? Depending on what board you have, you might be able to change the per core or not. Ryzen's a little bit weird. My recommendation, I'm going to type this up here now, is update the BIOS and check to see if you can change the individual core ratios. Ryzen still has bugs to work out, or it could be a motherboard issue. So, there's the answer to that. Oh, that's my Facebook there. There's a lot of political stuff going on, so we're going to stay away from that.
Do I go after this pink one?
Why not sell RX 480 580 monitors and buy Vega? I have a GTX 1080, so I don't have any RX cards. Actually, that's a lie. I have one. Still have this one over here. Bring up OBS so you guys can see, so I know you guys can see. Got my RX 550. Not worth anything, but still have it. It actually doesn't run that warm, like 70 degrees max. Its shroud is but it has decent I/O. I mean, you can't really complain. It'll play even games like this, 1080p at like level 4. So, what else do I have over here? I have a mess. I have a power supply I have to install soon.
You're welcome.
That's going into this guy. There's actually a computer down here for a friend. I have to put that in at some point tonight and recable manage that. So got a fair bit. Because the same might come over tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So not a ton of stuff going on right now. Like I said, I have a couple more videos to do there, and then that's pretty much it. Just wait for, I'm going to start buying stuff here, stuff there to see what are some different things that I can review. Hey, don't make fun of my 550. Make sure you guys can't see what I'm doing.
God, this thing has a huge turning radius.
Well, a friend of mine just posted the best part coming home from work on Saturday. It's the English dub version of Dragon Ball Super. Yeah, rebuilding machines doesn't take me super long anymore. You know, when I was doing the benchmarks of the i3 Ryzen 3 systems, I literally tear that board out and put the other one back in 4 or 5 minutes. Because I mean, I was literally putting it on like I wasn't routing everything. So most of that is routed pretty decently. I just have to unplug the external SSD. But I still have, actually it's not an external. That enclosure keeps dying on me. So. But,
oh, I did start using the APs.
Some interesting milestones for the channel. So
The APs.
let me show you guys my dashboard here. No, actually, probably can't show you that. Hold on.
Okay, 724.
View channel.
Oh, I can do the
About.
Cause whatever it is.
I can show you guys this.
Glow.
So, just hit
I just got
200,000
4.
total views. So yeah, I've been doing this since 2013, but I only had
I
about
can do the Type 2 Mod 2.
maybe 50 or 60,000 views when I first started earlier this year.
Good.
And with 325
Actually,
subscribers, I had 100 when I first started.
Research price is
So you figure we're looking at 6 months.
I'm
I think that's pretty good, given you know where I started and where I'm at. So nothing I can do full time yet, but okay, a couple other things. I replaced for fun old piece of thermal paste. Yeah, I've done that. My buddy's CPU was running around 90-95 degrees Celsius, and his CPU was up in the upper 80s.
Yeah.
Clean out the fans, replace thermal paste, CPU dropped to
Okay,
60s,
so
GPU dropped 15
stars.
degrees as well.
I have 724. So click on it.
Yeah,
On the top it says research price.
yeah, Windows can
20
take a while on an
stars.
old machine. Definitely no doubt about that.
Required 296 stars.
Oh, if anybody ever wants to add me to WoW, if you guys play, this is my Steam. Yeah. Always will add you guys. I just don't know who's who.
Oh, okay.
And I'm
So let me research
probably
that.
going to remove this guy too, because I have no idea who this guy is.
So I want to buy that for 18,000. Yes.
You need a bigger desk for a second monitor. I do have a second monitor over here. So,
Okay.
I'm
Do I
going to
want
bring
to
this.
auto resupply? No. Okay.
So I'm going to show you guys a couple things here. Ugh. Okay, so I have a nice little Walmart desk behind me for 2 monitors. That's her setup right there, so you can see her computer and everything. And then, I need more slack. So I have, wow, that focus. I have both monitors here. Got my rig. My rig's actually quite small, so
What?
I'm definitely a mess right here, no doubt about that. Got my pink shirt Vegeta. So
Why are you using the V25?
put this back on here.
Yeah, that's true.
Make this a little bit smaller. Ooh, I got something on my screen here. Yuck. There we go.
Who are we waiting on? Sticky.
I'm on EU. Not sure what that's referencing, but cool. So, yeah, not a lot of super exciting stuff coming in. You know, I got the Master Liquid coming. Yeah, I got the Master Liquid cooler coming. Again, thanks Crackling Ice for that. that was definitely definitely some good stuff there. So I'm pretty excited to work on that. And like I said, I want to do Vega, but you know, with everything else I've invested money into and everything, I'm not sure if it's the cards or not. You know, if I can get somebody's computer sold, that'll get some of my debt down, and maybe I might pull the trigger and get Vega. I really want Vega because my monitor is actually, so it's a Pixo PX 277, 27-inch, 1440p, 144 hertz. PLS display. It's listed as IPS, but for all intents and purposes, it's PLS in my opinion, or IPS rather. And it is FreeSync, so you know I spent about $400 on it, so I would like to be able to do that.
Were you having issues there?
Okay. Ravaged.
Well, that was a little like late.
I would. Okay, so. To answer your question, I would expect it to perform decent. There's no reason why it won't do better than, like, a Hyper 212, right?
Hey.
So,
whoa, Death.
the Hyper 212 didn't do that great of a job over the stock cooler from my earlier testing. So, granted, I didn't have the best chip, and there were some voltage issues and everything like that. The Hyper 212 is not enough to keep my system overclocked. So, go for Volta. I mean, Volta's still a little bit away. I mean, I think we're about a year away, give or take, somewhere in that ballpark. I definitely. I've never been an AMD person, meaning that like I've never had an alt AMD build before, because when I started getting into this a couple years ago, 2010, AMD really, outside of graphics cards, they didn't have anything worthwhile. So I mean, I would like to continue to give them a chance. You know, for Vega, here's the thing: Vega by no means is going to be more powerful than the 1080 Ti. I would like it to see that it would match a 1080 and or maybe potentially beat it in some categories, but it's not going to beat the 1080 Ti. And in all honesty, I don't think it has to. I think with being that the air-cooled version's $499, I'm sad you can't OC. You're sick. Yeah, yeah, we'll have to, we'll talk. Who's this is asking about it? Oh, he's not actually in the stream right now.
Was that me?
Thanks. I probably could have. Okay, you're talking to me. I probably could have hit 4 gigahertz. Here's what I wanted to do. So the i3 has a 3.9 gigahertz boost. That's why I did 3.9 gigahertz. So I kept them the same. And basically what we saw was it didn't matter. And to take one step further, and this is where oh man, I was supposed to do this video today, I forgot. I'll probably get it up next day or two. So I actually have results in the Ryzen 5, right? So I have the results because I'm selling it. So I ran the same benchmarks that I did on YouTube for Ryzen 3. And
that was
now with the 1060, I'll be honest with you guys, and I'll give you a sneak peek to the results. With the 1060, it performed identical to the i3 and the Ryzen 3. The question is if we pair the 1080, which I have in this rig over here, is it going to do better? It should, but I don't know. I actually don't have that answer for you. So to give you a sneak peek, if you pair a Ryzen, if you're pairing any chip with a 1060. Basically, i3, Ryzen 3, Ryzen 5, Ryzen 7, you know, 7700K. Nice. I mean, I'm making a bold statement since I don't have all the answers, but I would go to say they all perform the same. I think the GPU is the bottleneck in many cases. Andrew Mellon, to answer your question, I'm running a Ryzen 7 1700. Clocked. I actually don't think I have it overclocked. Shame on me. I did at one point. RAM is at 2400. That's the max my board will currently support. 32 gigs and a GTX 1080 hybrid liquid cold version. So I'll show you a quick little. picture of my system here. Not sure if I can get it without the glare. Focus, focus. That's not going to focus. Maybe, oh, there it did. So I got the 1080 hybrid. I have an H100i on the Ryzen chip. I have two 16 gig chips of DDR4 2400 megahertz. It actually goes up to 3000, and obviously everything's hidden under there. And then barely, I know we're having glare issues here.
Or stick, you got torpedoes coming at you.
Come on, focus. In the red here, there is a there we go, 250 gig NVMe SSD, 1 terabyte storage SSD around back. So, but this 460X, by the way, really small mid tower, I will say, compared to most that I've worked with. So it's almost micro ATX.
I'll take it.
Let's see. We'll go here next.
I'll take that.
So what's on the horizon? I know you texted me earlier about Vega. If I can get this system behind me sold. Really? I was told that Corsair LPX has done really well. In fact, that's what I'm running on here. I could be wrong. I would like to mess with Vega, but I just don't know if I have the funds for it or not. We've put almost everything on the on the card. My system, her system, a lot of other stuff. Ivan, what board are you running? Because if you're running B350, there could be a reason why. I'm not sure if B350 really likes memory past 2666.
Walkie-talkie.
Premier groups. I mean, like I said, a lot of people actually liked Corsair LPX. So everybody said that was most compatible, but one thing to consider, and I'm not sure if you know this, for memory OC, you really want to make sure your SoC voltage is like 1.1 to 1.2. And again, on B350 platform, you know, it's a little bit harder sometimes to overclock. Like mine. Okay, so you're running the same board I am.
Wait, 9 times on a transaction?
Our board does not like memory overclocking north of 2400 with 32 gigs is what like I'm running, and anything past that can't get it to really post. But I also haven't updated the BIOS as well. ASRock's been okay for me so far. I haven't really had any issues with this particular board. Actually, I haven't overclocked this one either, because I have to at some point here. I thought I was overclocked, but then again, my CPU is running like really chilly right now, so.
What?
Let's see where I'm running at. Yeah, I'm only running at 3.2.
I don't see anyone, do you?
My temperature is 32 degrees Celsius. That's, for those of you, and I know Andrew Mellon, you're newer to the PC Master Race world. 32 degrees. Generally speaking, we use metric in the PC world. So when we look at temperatures, we almost never look at Fahrenheit. Just nobody does. The safety zone for a processor is around. Oh hey, I'm 108. Safety zone for a processor is like, I like it under 80 degrees, under your like max load. They generally won't even shut off to 105. So me running a game and streaming, running about 32, 33 degrees Celsius, that's pretty good. Generally, if I want to do some overclocking, I'll be in like the mid-50s, but I also have a liquid cooler as well. Okay. Okay, so I'm looking at you. What BIOS? I don't know what version I'm running.
Man.
Let me check here. CPU.
Alright, I'm going to have to.
I know Mr. Mellon here. He has a nice rig coming. He's getting a 1700X with a 1080. Got a really good deal from CyberPower. To be honest, I actually couldn't match it even if I built it for him for free. So.
Got you.
Can't be any worse than my X370 board. My X370 Asus board can't overclock. It could not overclock. I straight up returned it.
Ooh,
The Micro Center got something else. Maybe I'll fire up, well, probably too late to do that. Yeah, I definitely have to get this thing overclocking at some point.
Hey, I'm on fire.
Yeah, we've definitely were looking at some options, and we decided, no, it was best interest for him to go through CyberPower, and the fact that, like I said, even if I would have built it myself,
So
it was going to be more or less the same price. So we went out that way because they have the the 12 or 24 month financing, and I don't do that unfortunately. I wish I could, but I don't make that kind of money. Maybe I should. Maybe I should finance, and maybe I can start making money off this stuff. For those of you that don't play World of Warcraft, I'm doing what's referred to as there's the Invasion World Quest. So in World of Warcraft Legion, there's it's all about the Legion coming back and invading. So I think it's once every 24 hours or so, there's area that's taken over. What other games do I play? So I just downloaded a game called World of Warships, which I'm not being included in since you can only have 3 people in a division. Haven't played League of Legends recently. There's a couple games like Live for Speed's a racing simulator that I play.
GTA.
GTA I haven't played in a bit, but I have played it a lot in the past. GTA 5. I don't know why I haven't played GTA 5 recently.
Nice.
There's actually a reason for that, Ivan. So the voltage will move around when you set it. I think it's known as V-droop. So basically your voltage will fluctuate. Yes, I think if you set it in Ryzen Master, it'll be a little bit more precise. But
yes, I can.
Yep. So yeah, there's a lot of things with overclocking in that regard. But yeah, he's right. So there's something called load line calibration. So basically, when you up the voltage, it's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be 100% stable. So sometimes it's going to actually demand a little bit more voltage. It's better than demanding less in scenarios where, apparently I aggroed something else, where the overclock will fail and cause the shutdown.
I remember this
so you will have more accurate levels. If you increase the load line, it'll drop less. So that is something definitely to consider.
What is this? Is this a guy riding a bike holding a MacBook or iMac?
Speaking of iMac, my fiance has an issue with basically Windows just crashing left and right. And we're thinking it's actually being contributed to iTunes. Because in the event reviewer, the last thing they have right before it was a bunch of errors from a bunch of services. So, and I have to laugh because if you guys don't know, I absolutely do not like Apple. I don't like the company more so, but make a lot of money, and they're greedy. What's I'm looking for? I already have that. So I'm curious what the other issue that you're having is. Okay. So just to verify, are you messing with the SoC voltage at all? You need to be around 1112 for any kind of decent stable overclock. But yes, that is what we were referring to earlier.
What the I don't know. At that point, I would just show him the picture and be like, really?
Yes, he is correct though. If you, I want to say,
can't accept it today, tomorrow,
increase
or
the
any
load
other
line
day.
calibration should fix that. But I don't know what settings on the BIOS allow you on that on this particular board. So that's the only thing. I'll have to look into it. If you want to send me a message at some point, either through YouTube or email, most of you guys should have my email by now. But
yeah, you know what? Now that I've seen that, yes, I found an old episode on YouTube.
So, oh god, I'm getting my shit kicked in. I'm getting my shit kicked in. WoW's still pretty popular as a whole. I like it. I played it for a very long time, obviously, so.
I think I have.
It doesn't? I could have sworn it does. Well, I know you can send it in Ryzen Master, so keep that in mind.
Glue, I got torpedoes.
Correct, yeah. I honestly don't like going past 1.4 for voltage on Ryzen, personally. I just saw week over week. That's funny. That's more of an inside work joke. Most people won't get that.
We shall not speak of what happened.
Oh, I need one more. Nobody else is fighting. Gosh darn it. I think at some point when I feel like it, I'll probably go to a Z or X370 board. Might make sense.
On this one.
Just because I want to dial in the overclock here, which would be nice.
Ooh, just missed that one.
Oh god, I'm stunned. I'm getting my ass kicked. And I'm dead. I'm getting out of here in a hot minute. One more to do. Wow, that'll put me almost halfway through this level. So, here's what I've noticed. Ryzen really starts to drop off around 3.8, 3.9 gigahertz. And it requires an insane amount of voltage to go faster. And this has to do with Ryzen being, it's a first generation chip. We're fully expecting Zen 2 to perform significantly better than in clock speed. You know, Intel's starting to find out the hard way with their Z or X299 boards. Their overclocking headroom isn't great either. And interestingly enough, Threadripper is overclocking a little bit better than Ryzen did. Some of the reasons for that is that when you run gaming mode, it shuts off. So if you guys don't know, in a Threadripper chip, there's actually 4 nodes. Caddy corner, so like this one and this one, they're shut off. They're not shut off, rather, they're actually not implemented. So AMD's been known for disabling units on processing cords and stuff like that because they failed the voltage or whatever specification they need to run, but you can unlock them and run at a higher voltage and get more cores. They actually didn't do that with Threadripper. They just basically put 2 chips in there and 2 dummies just to make sure that the actual weight is equal and things like that. But when you run gaming mode, what happens is it turns off one of those 2 platters. Now the cool thing is that unlike Ryzen, there's actually 4 CCX modules across 2 chips instead of 1 across 1 platform module. I have no idea where I'm going. I'm lost here. Okay, I'll go this way. And they actually are getting a little bit better yields with overclocking and single thread performance. So no, I am I'm not streaming from my Pixel. No, I'm streaming from OBS, and I have a Logitech C955 webcam. So VDDP, I forget. I'll look that up. 3. Voltage, Ryzen. Okay, pull that up. Open up AMD Reddit.
Really?
Let me stop getting my butt kicked for a second here.
Oh, why can't I reach that one yet? I know. I can't reach it though. There we go.
On the video, who was it? Kyle from Bitwit was he was streaming from his phone. I don't know what phone he has, but it was pretty bad with the unboxing. Okay, I think I might be in a safe spot.
Now with this one.
Okay, no. VDDP is something different. I thought it was like input voltage or whatever. People are saying set it to 1.0, 1.01, so not anything I'd really mess with. Threadripper, yep, Threadripper's doing good. Keyboard and mouse combo. I don't know what you're referring to, Andy. Threadripper's doing really well, and I think what a lot of people need to understand about what Threadripper's all about is they basically are saying, AMD is basically saying, we have the best $1,000 chip. And that's true. They're not saying we have the best 16-core chip, we have the best high-end desktop chip. They're not saying that they have the best anything else other than they have the best $1,000 chip. And so far, that's been proven true across the board. You know, X299 with all the issues that's having, VRM issues, which are fixing most of those, compatibility issues. And what I was referring to, I was actually talking to Andrew Mellon about this, compatibility issues. So when, what am I using and what it recommends? So, yeah, about that. I had a really nice setup, and then I switched it out for something cheap.
Oh, we got that help. You got that Hellfire again.
I'll actually link you in a second what I'm using. Master keyboards. It's what's called mechanical, so it's not a fully mechanical keyboard, but it's
Bro. So my sister.
I think it's called the Master. I think it's this one.
Does Best Buy sell black noisemakers?
Yes, I got this on sale for $30.
I don't think I told Blue.
Now, what I recommend. Okay, that one's tough. So there is two different.
She goes, you
let
know,
me
the
try
things
to
that,
for
you know,
this
help
here.
you sleep. I said, white noise? She goes, oh, yeah.
Can you not yell so loud over there, please?
Huh?
Can you not yell so loud, please?
No.
Thank you. So, yeah, so there's a lot of options. So there's two kinds.
What is T and what is Y?
Okay, let me answer the first question. I'll answer the next. There's going to be two different kinds of keyboards. There's going to be what's called a membrane keyboard, which is like 95% of keyboards out there. Little squishy feel. Just about every single kind of, you know, keyboard that's out there. And then there's going to be what's called a mechanical keyboard. So all that means is under the actual keycap, there's a pressing mechanism, also known as a switch. Now, for the longest time, there was like one major kind of switch out there. It was called Cherry. A company called Cherry made it. And they were actually identified by the color. So when you lifted the keycap, the actual mechanism would be color-coded. There was red, blue, brown, black were the most popular. Now, there's a lot of other people in the game making their own color switches, or kind of switches. So there's, and I'll even bring up a list here. Mechanical keyboard switches. And I'll explain why there's different ones here. So we have Kale, which are pretty popular. Razer has their own. Oh, I'm getting my ass kicked here. Should really probably pay attention for a minute. Razer, who makes, you know, peripherals and things like that. They have their own series of switches. Logitech, Romer G.
What's dead on?
It looks like there's Tober. Tober was pretty big for a while.
Oh.
So the difference is, and I can no means go through all of them. Okay, hold on a second. Stop healing. Let me finish killing this guy real quick, and then this one. So I'm going to send you a link here. This is a pretty good... oh, sweet. I didn't do anything and finish that. Pretty good overview of all of them. But basically, long story short, it's different feels. What I mean by that is, like, so Cherry MX Brown is my personal favorite, because when you push down, when you're... no, that's blue. When you push down, there's be a little bit of force feedback and a little bump. And the reason why I like that is it's like hybrid, good for gaming and typing. But it doesn't make a lot of click sound, which is what she was talking about earlier. Because you know you've passed what's called the actuation point, which is where the key gets recognized by the computer that it was pressed. Blues, which what she was referring to, Cherry MX Blue, make a clicky sound. They're really good for typing, not so much for gaming. And if you want what's called a lightweight switch, which is basically you can press it real fast and there's no actuation, like there's an actuation point but you can't feel it. Those are reds, and they're very light, and those are really good for like people that are competitive, CSGO players, stuff like that. And then there's black, which is basically the same thing as red, just it takes a little more force to press. So those were like the main four, and then like that's basically
I fired up the wrong side.
The different key switches. That's what differentiates them. How much force it takes to press them. So obviously that. And if there's any kind of pushback or bump or click, and then travel. So how far do they travel, and how far they travel to actuate. So there's gonna be a lot of different, you know, examples of that, and you have to go with what you like. I like my browns. The problem is I want to change up the RGB coloring on them, and
you said the white
that's why I want something cheap.
Hit, right?
So the keyboard I'm using, which is pretty cheap, I got it for like $40 for this. When you press down on it, about halfway down, it has a little light bump. So, but it's not like a brown necessarily. But they're basically a regular standard like membrane keyboard, but Cooler Master made their own little generic switch for them. So there's that question. To answer your next question, which indie product do you think is the most important? So he's saying that one's tough. I'll tell you this: the product I like the most is Ryzen 3, because it basically gives access to high-end, mid to high-end gaming to everybody. So the system that's behind me over here, okay.
Nice. All right.
What's in there right now is irrelevant, but I have parts totaling $550, and paired with the Ryzen 3, a GTX 1060, a solid state drive, a case, a power supply, and memory.
What about? Wait, are you?
For $550, you can get a computer that can play any game on high settings, and any modern game that isn't super demanding on near maximum settings of 1080p with good frame rate, north of a 50 average. And here, to give you an example here, I actually have a spreadsheet, because I love my spreadsheets. So let me bring them up here. So if you guys haven't seen my Ryzen 3, this is where this is going to come from here. So let me bring you guys.
So I'm going to use the engine boost.
Okay. So I'm going to make myself even smaller here. No, move me over here. That works. So let's take a look here. So let's look at the actual two games I tested. So we have Ghost Recon's Wildland at 1080p and 1440p. You take a Ryzen 3 and overclock it to 3.9 gigahertz, you're getting a 70 FPS average. Let's look at For Honor. Another game that's pretty demanding, high settings, 110 FPS. I mean, not much more to say. Now, these are with a 1080, obviously. GTA 5 is going to be able to post above 60 FPS. Most games out there north of 60 FPS. So I feel like, I feel like Ryzen 3s are really, really, really important segment out there. So that's why I like it.
Steering gear damaged. I knew that was coming.
Some people, Crackling Ice, and this is still early. Some people have hit 4.2 on Threadripper, so that's why I said that. Let me go back to where did I request that? Okay, I have
we have to watch the rest of this. Oh yeah, because I want to get the points.
Nice, congrats. So, should probably change my specs on here, but I don't have the AB350M anymore. But let me look at some motherboards here, because I've been contemplating replacing mine.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to my other one.
And the reason why I do that is I have a Ryzen 3 system build. So, let's go with AM4. Oh, let me show you guys what I'm doing. So I like Gigabyte. It really served me well when I had my Gigabyte board, so I'm going to stick with that. Asus, I had a really bad experience with Asus, so I'm going to avoid them. So this is like the board I've been eyeing up, either this one or the K3. Probably this one for two reasons. This is a brown PCB, and this looks to be I believe this is RGB. Yeah, it's pretty good price too. So completely RGB, good VRM cooling, so that's definitely nice. So real quick, to show you what the issue with X299 was, they didn't have slots in their VRMs, or not enough, so VRMs were overheating. I/O, USB-C ports, so we like to see that. We have, oh, these are weird color coded. Probably it looks to be a couple USB 3.1 Gen 2s, which is good. Full SLI supports are 2, 4, 6, 8. I still find these earlier boards are including HDMI out, but
cause flooding.
But pretty good reviews. Not a lot of bad ones, but so this is definitely something concerning. Is that? But I was able to get my RAM up to 2666 on a B350 board, so. But that would be. I don't know what MSI is offering here. I haven't looked at MSI yet.
Oh, you can choose different ports. Does that affect?
I would go with this only because I have a white and black system. Wow, that's probably the funny thing is this is like their high-end board, but look, not a lot of eggs. That tells me that there's probably some issues. This could potentially be an option as well.
The anchor?
Still not good. And we're kind of seeing this across the board with most Ryzen. Just because of early support and stuff like that. Let's look at I/O. So 1, 2, 3. So one last USB port. Still USB-C. These look to be legacy USB 2. I do like to see that. So decent I/O. Should support SLI. It definitely support Crossfire. I like the color scheme. Put my... Oh, that's not a good... it's not really a big deal. I don't like that M.2 slot there, though, but whatever. So I'm going to show you a board that I have that I do not like at all. I'll tell you why I hate it. So I took the advice of the guy from Micro Center to get this instead of the ASRock version. I'll show you something. Fan header. That's it. So CPU and one fan. That's all you can put in there without adapters. Okay. Is she doing her own stream? No, she's on TeamSpeak with her friends from work. Important question here. Is it gay to drink gluten-free beer? No.
Wait. What did I hear about me?
Are you doing your own stream?
No.
I'm going to say no, because some people need to drink gluten-free, or that might be your fancy.
One of his viewers asked if I was doing my own stream.
It's actually my coworker that asked that.
Although I should probably start a channel and stream.
Hey, I built you a freaking $2,500 computer, and all you do is freaking play GTA 5. You can do that on the computer behind you. That costs $550. She's the reason why half my head is turning gray already.
You love me, though.
Right. That's what I meant to do. She didn't see that. Where the heck am I going? Telegun wrong right here.
There you go.
Meh. Maybe. I mean, keep thinking that for now. I'll come up with a more in-depth answer here shortly.
Hey.
What? I'm curious to see, so for those of you that follow the hardware that's out or coming out, we have Intel Coffee Lake coming out soon. There's a lot of rumors and speculation around that, so that's going to be the replacement to, obviously, KB Lake.
I don't see any ships. We win.
Probably no. Hufflepoof, sorry. But supposedly, from what I've read, what the rumors are, i7 should move from 4 cores to 6 cores with also hyper-threading. i5 should be 6 cores, so that'll be interesting.
I'm sorry.
And i3 should be 4 cores.
I mean,
and then what would be a smart move for Intel would be to keep Pentium and Celeron, move those to 4-core hyper-threading.
There's a little speedy boat over there.
I don't know, because there was rumors floating around saying that, you know, i3 was going to be 4-core hyper-threading. That just makes no sense. So
he's coming right at me.
So that's going to be on the horizon soon. As somebody said earlier, Volta is not... That's not going to be till, I believe, next year sometime. And then Intel, AMD is working on
that little
Navi.
speedy boat's firing at me, though.
Is actually how you pronounce it. And they're slating for a 2018 launch. The question is, and I'm going to bring this up from the LTT forums here, Navi. So, let me switch screens real quick
screen.
Here. Oh, you guys have been looking at my screen the whole time. Whoops.
Haha. Looking at that big old noggin.
No, they weren't looking at my head. So it looks like it's going to be on a 7 nanometer process, down from a 14 nanometer. So this is going to be the smallest GPU die that we've seen to date, and it's going to be debuted sometime in 2018, probably the latter half of 2018. So that's really interesting because Vega literally is coming out in a couple of days, and we're already talking about, you know, the next GPU should be out in a short time afterwards.
Are you down?
They get new, yeah. So the hope is that we're going to see some competition. So from 2011 on, it's been the Intel show. AMD tried to go with.
Yep, I'm there with you.
So how to explain it? Actually, a better example is if you remember, Andrew, and I think you could probably understand this. The Samsung Exynos processors that were 8 cores, there were a bunch of like really low powered 8 cores, right? Not necessarily in speed, but raw throughput. Well, AMD had a chipset called Bulldozer, and also they revised it with PileDriver and Steamroller. And basically, they were 8 cores, just like Ryzen. They were fast. They were in excess of near 5 gigahertz. In fact, they had a 5 gigahertz model that came out. The problem is that they were actually less powerful per core, and they didn't communicate very well because AMD basically bet on everything going away from single core process. So what that means is not just everything runs on a single core, but like a lot of instruction sets. So one being this game, World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft gets bottlenecked, or will bottleneck any really powerful system in raids. Raids is going to be when you're going to see a bunch of people in a small area, a bunch of spells going off, in excess of 40 people. And even my system will hit like 35, 40 FPS while streaming south of 30 in some cases. The reason why is because what has to happen is the server sends you the data set, basically what every other user's input, and it has to come in and be processed in order. So that data instruction set basically runs on a partial core or on one core. So the rest of your computer is sitting idle while one processing core or one thread is processing all this information. And then it has to then take your stuff, process that information, pack it up, and send it out. So there's a lot of data sets or a lot of games that still rely on single thread performance. In fact, most programs still do. The program itself may use 3 or 4 cores. The problem is that instruction set for different parts of the application it might have 2 different data sets that need to be processed, and both of them can only be run on individual threads. They can't actually share resources on a single data set. So, you leaving?
Yep.
Okay.
No.
Good night.
Good night. Oh, well, I'll be in the other room.
Alright, love you, babe.
Oh, yeah.
Way to, break the table there.
That's okay. We'll get over it.
So, AMD basically put all their cards in a basket and said, okay, single thread performance is not going to be important here. We're going to go strictly multi-thread performance. Well, data sets didn't change. So, in comes Ryzen, where the single core performance is much better. What's something called instructions per clock. So, how many instructions a single core can execute per clock speed. So, not to go really super in depth, but from my understanding on how processors work, there's multiple pipelines, and it has to search down all the pipelines to basically find an open thread or source. And high IPCs means that it can make multiple searches per pipeline or something like that. It's really, that's a little bit outside my round of expertise. But long story short, Ryzen has really good single-threaded and multi-threaded performance. So they are full cores. They're put on 2 essential platters, and they have what's called a CCX module that communicates between all the processors very well. So they basically took a similar design as what they did before, but a much better approach at it with more powerful cores and per core performance. Alex Potato 21. I don't think there is there's only one answer to that, and that's the 1700X, because to give you an idea, my 4790K, which is honestly not much less powerful than a 7700K, literally edited video more than twice as slow as my Ryzen chip. So if you're doing video editing, hands down Ryzen. I mean, there's not really a good argument for that. It's definitely all Ryzen there. Now there are, and I didn't really talk too much with Andy about this, or Andrew Mellon there. There are scenarios where Ryzen's not optimal, and I'll give you a perfect example. A good friend of mine wants to do a racing simulator. He wants me to build him one. And there's no doubt that in pure gaming, so if all you're doing is 1080p gaming, and you want the highest frame rates possible, Ryzen will not beat a 7700K for 2 reasons. Intel is still slightly ahead of AMD in single-threaded performance, 5 to 8%. And almost every game out there does rely some of its performance to single-threaded. And the other reason is that the clock speed. So the boost clock of a Intel chip is 4.5 gigahertz. So that's going to definitely perform better. So if Ryzen is roughly 5 to 8% behind clock for clock, if you're comparing even an 1800X, which boosts up to 4 gigahertz, versus a 7700K, which boosts 4.5 with no additional overclocks, the 7700K is going to do better. So for that reason, I did decide we're going to do a 7700K for him. Like I said, because it is important. Racing simulator, we're going to be running multiple 1080p monitors, 3 of them, with a single GTX 1080 Ti, and having, Intel's going to squeak out a little bit of a win. Not much, just a little bit. So in that scenario, that's what we're going to do. But that's, in my opinion, it's pretty rare that I make that recommendation. So. Oop, this guy's fighting me, so I should probably pay attention. Oh, Andrew, when you get your system in, before you open, you just bring it by my place, and we can do a live, because I do have a camera where I can do live streaming and stuff like that. We can do like a live unboxing and setup and everything. Oops. Totally not paying attention here. Turn this up a little bit. Have you decided on a monitor? I know I have a monitor I'm using for extra is right over here. Ah, man. Just lifted the other day. My arm doesn't want to extend. That's my 144 hertz 1080p monitor. Yeah, I mean, if you get a license, let me know. I'll go ahead and get Windows loaded up for you. Like I said, I use Kingwin, like we talked about. It is gray market, from my understanding. You know, basically bulk licensing, purchasing from other countries and resold in our market. But you know, I respect anybody's not wanting to go gray market there. So, you know, like I said, that's definitely fine. It's better. No, actually, no. We've me and my fiance go to the gym 3 days a week now because just health. If you actually saw a video, I actually got sick recently, but health issues. We need to start going to the gym. So. But I'm not lifted much, I'll tell you that. I'm really kind of disappointed with how much work I have to do. Hey, what's up, Amax? If you have any other questions, definitely drop in the stream. He was emailing me about some potential ideas with build and stuff like that. So he actually asked a really good question via email, and I'll tell you guys about it. So there's multiple different 80 plus certifications out there. There's 80 plus bronze, retired. I'll address that question. Any other GPUs other than 1080 Ti for editing? 1080 Ti. So this is interesting. I have a video here. Hold on a second. This one. So. Come on. Nope. Not what I wanted. Not the right video. Hold on. Here we go. So. I'm going to send this to you here. Charts start about... Ooh, I'm getting my shit kicked in. Whoops. We'll say like a minute and 20 in. So, spoiler alert, using Adobe Premiere, there's no performance difference from a GT 1030 all the way to a GTX 1080. There was a difference at 720p 30 FPS, interestingly enough. But that was like the only real big performance. It seems that didn't really make a big difference. Now, my settings on there were a little interesting, so I'm going to revisit this video in the future because I still have a couple graphics cards to work with. But usually I do 1080p 60 FPS, and I didn't have that option because I didn't update Adobe on a fresh load, so keep that in mind. But if you're doing just video editing, you're probably better off with a Quadro. You know, literally any graphics card should be fine. Let me look this up here. Oh, I'm going to see if my tests were actually true. Let me see something here really quick. So I'm looking something up real quick. So here's the problem. From what I'm seeing, as long as you're doing CUDA acceleration, there's really not a big difference until... Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me. Why are you being such a pain in my ass? Like, seriously, you're just being a douchebag. There's really not a big difference in the high-end GPUs with CUDA acceleration. So I'm going to... somebody just sent me an email. I'll go bring it up in a minute. I'm going to do a video. So Alex Potato, I don't know how soon you want to purchase. Okay. And... Oh, that's who that... Okay, that's why. I presume you mean 1440p. Let me see if I can help kill this person here. Damn it. And now I'm getting my shit kicked in again. Oh well, it's worth a shot. I'm going to do a new video. I'm going to see if like that 1080 versus 1060 versus anything else. And I'm going to do 1080p, 60 FPS. I'm going to do a 10-minute raw video. And see if there's a difference. From what I'm reading, there's really not until you hit like 4K, 6K, 8K, stuff like that. But I'm going to do a video. So I don't know how soon, Alex, you're gonna pull the trigger on this. If you got to do it soon, you got to do it soon. That's fine. But if you want to wait a couple days, that could be something I could put on the list here. I'm off on Thursday, so I could probably do it then. My Ryzen 5 video is going to go up next couple days, I believe. Okay, I'm going to update my Amazon affiliate stuff here in my live stream here, and I'll tell you guys why in a minute. The parts used in my system are not accurate. So, I'm just going to update a couple of these really quick if you guys don't mind. So, for those of you that don't know, you can be what's called an Amazon affiliate. And basically, long story short, in the description of all my videos is going to be a link to Amazon with either the parts that I used or the parts of my system. And what happens is if you buy anything on that session, so even if you don't buy the part that is linked in there, if you click on the link and then buy something from that session, Amazon will actually give me a percentage of whatever that cost. So it varies. It's not a lot, but it definitely adds up over time. And I know people like, for example, Linus. He gets probably $1.5, $2 million a year off of that because he's very popular, obviously. Yeah, it's the VR4. So if anybody decides to buy anything from Amazon or anything that I feature in the videos, It is definitely greatly appreciated if you use my link. Don't have to by any stretch, but it does help me out with hopefully bringing more stuff to you guys soon. Okay. Sure. I'll join a group. Oh, it's you. I didn't realize it. My bad. Let me see. What else do I have here? Samsung 960 Evo NVMe. And then I'm just updating a couple of things real quick. 100. Okay, thanks for your advice. You recall, Bill. Yep, you did tell me about that. Hey, definitely. I definitely appreciate you coming to me with everything. And you know, I used to help a lot of people back in the day, and it's kind of why I do the YouTube channel, is because I feel like my perspective is different. It's definitely more opinionated, but I feel like I'm a consumer just like everybody else, so my opinion, for some reason, matters. Put it lightly. What was I was going to look something up. I don't remember what. Oh, yeah, you sent me a link in my email. Let me pull that up real quick. Nope, I did not want to create an account. Sign in. I know this will bite me in the ass in the long run, but my email is out there for everybody if they need it for any reason. I don't remember the password. Did I really change it to this? Oh yeah, that's what it is. I forgot. Okay, Canadian part picker. So let's take a look. Good. Okay, so I recommend the LPX memory. Somebody here made a comment that it's not great for Ryzen, so do a little research before you order it. Power supply, no bueno. The NEX is a G1 series. It's like it's not horrible, but it's like a tier 3, tier 4 power supply. Honestly, get a G2, get a G3, get the M12-2. I mean, there's a lot of options out there. Everything else, that's good. Yeah, everything else looks to be good. No other complaints there. You should be good outside of that. Just make sure that cooler will fit the front of the... I think that has 140 mounts in the front. But definitely really good choice on CPU cooler there. See you, man. Yeah, I got to work tomorrow, so I probably don't have a lot more time streaming, but I'll hang in as long as I can. The M12-2 is actually modular, and it has a flat black 24-pin. It is, in my opinion, a better overall power supply. So if you want to give like the M12-2 620, really good price for that. Yeah, I love Seasonic's budget-oriented power supplies. I like them a lot. They're definitely really good units. I'm going to switch over to Frost for a little bit. This is probably some of the busier... Yeah, I don't think I've really have consistently had this many people watching. Okay, yeah, I'm using LPX as well, so... Yeah, I thought it was pretty good, but I wasn't 110% sure. I felt like everybody said the LPX was fine, but... I think this is helping. Yeah, Andrew Mellon say, we work for the same company. We don't work together anymore, but we did, so I was helping him out with the computer. I really wanted to build him one, but it just wasn't in the cards, so we got him something good, though. So I'm definitely happy to hear that. Frost is just as fun as when I used to play it on the PTR back in the day when Death Knights were still newer. I used to always be on the PTR. I liked having like the best gear and PvP and crap. Let's see. Did I miss any question? Oh, sorry, Alex. Going back to your question. I'm sorry. I got a little bit distracted. Yeah. So, do a little bit more research. You know, before I do my video, obviously I'm going to do my video here. I'm going to have to, you know, note to remember to do it. By far, the CPU is going to be, the CPU and the memory are going to be most important. So, yep, that is a good power supply. G2 is fine. So I run 32 gigabytes of memory. I run a Ryzen 7, and I hit about 100% CPU usage in probably about, if I'm running multiple things at once, I'll be like 60, 65% memory. So I would say the most important thing, bar none, is going to be obviously core count and memory. CUDA acceleration helps, but I think there's diminishing returns unless you're doing things like where it's really going to matter. We're talking 4K, we're talking 8K raw footage. For what I do, it doesn't really matter. CPU only versus CUDA is the only thing that really matters. So like in the videos that I do, a GT 1030 and a GTX 1080 literally perform identical to each other. So that's actually pretty interesting. So, I would go to say a 1080 Ti with the extra video memory. So if you're doing really high resolution stuff, if you're doing a lot of After Effects, if you're doing long videos where rendering and putting a lot of the video in video memory while it's rendering is going to make a difference, then I would say a 1080 Ti is definitely worth it. Or potentially look at something, like I said, a Quadro. So, like I said, a little more research may have to be done on both our ends. And hopefully I can give you some information on the consumer side. And if you get some information from the prosumer side, which is going to be obviously Quadros or whatever have you, then hopefully we're able to make the right decision. I need a couple more cursed bones. Oh, there's some. Just lying down. Thanks for getting me stuff from being ganked there. I was getting annoying. I think I started today at 104. Only 22 hours in this character. Yes, I boosted it to 100. That's why only 22 hours in this character. Yes. I'm gonna say yes. Because Vega 56, I believe, is due out soon. And if early yields and early leaks show anything, that is Vega 56 should be able to perform in lines of a GTX 1070. And if you jump on it early when it first comes out, you should be able to snag one for, say, you know, $300 or $400, $450. Another thing to consider, AMD FreeSync technology is a lot cheaper than NVIDIA G-Sync technology. So getting a FreeSync monitor is a lot cheaper in the long run than getting a G-Sync monitor. And I think that's definitely something worth considering as well. Sorry, I'm just selling some stuff here. Oh, some artifact power to apply here. Yeah, I'm not high enough to do dailies yet. I wish it was. Wait, I had to pick something up, it says. Oh, the seaweed. Whoops. Yeah. So, yeah, your monitor is FreeSync. So, you know, I would go to say Vega 56, I'll put it this way. I would be really surprised if Vega 56 performs closer to the GTX 1060 versus 1070. And if you can get it at launch at a good price, 400, you're not going to find, or 400 USD, which whatever, you know, everything else comes out to, then even if it does perform as well as a 1070, you're still getting value. You know, the concern is spending more than, you know, what the GTX 1070 costs and getting less, right? So I would almost go to say you have a FreeSync monitor. I would say it's worth it. It's worth waiting for it to come out. He has a lot of health. HBM is nice. Memory overclocking yields on HBM weren't that good with the Fury. But the Fury and Fury X are good graphics cards. They competed well. 4 gigs of video memory didn't hurt them, though. Oh, she's able to get out of here like no problem. I know. I know it's an OC edition. You know, so there we go. I think it's worth waiting for. Because you're paying $585 Canadian. Which honestly isn't a bad price, but I would say that RX5, you know, the Vega 56 should be coming out probably somewhere in the ballpark like 500 Canadian, and I think it's a better value at that regard. I have a spider bite here. Oh. Oh wow, you spent now mind you, it's Canadian prices, so keep that in mind. But yeah, dude, I would say at the very least, if you can snag a Vega 56 on pre-order, and I would pre-order the shit out of that, you'd probably get it for $170 less. And like I said, at the very least, you're gonna get a better value. May not get a better GPU. We'll find out, but. No, I don't think so, but the FreeSync makes a difference. So, getting a FreeSync GPU if you have a FreeSync monitor, that definitely makes a difference. Oh, whoops, wrong button. The only thing that you're gonna have to deal with, and this is the only reason why you would potentially consider going with a 1070, is there's only going to be reference versions available at launch, unless you want to go with, unless you want to wait for what you're probably implying, which is the add-in board partners to come in. And for those of you that aren't super familiar, the reference design is going to basically look, you have a shroud, you have a fan at the end, and it draws air in, it throws it down a chamber and out the back of the case. Now, the advantage with those is they don't dump heat into your case. So if you're running a really small form factor case or a case that doesn't have very good airflow, it's definitely more ideal. The downside is those definitely run hotter, no doubt about that one. They generally don't overclock as well. And which one should I get? All right, this one. And oh, I got a nice upgrade too. They run hotter, they don't overclock as well, and they're noisier. So that's the only thing you run into. Yeah, that's why I always laugh whenever I see whatchamacallit, I/O outs. And I know why, because there's going to be APUs that do support it, but okay, got that done. There's one. Darn it. Not dismounted. Yeah, anytime you guys see AIB, that means add-in board for like EVGA, MSI, all that stuff. So some of the reasons why people wait for the custom designs are sometimes they use a reference PCB, sometimes they don't. So the reference PCB is going to be the original one that NVIDIA or AMD designs, which is generally going to be something like a 4 to say 6 power, 6 or 4 to 6 plus 1 power phase. So what that means is that there's multiple layers on the board, and basically one power phase is dedicated to the VRM, and the other 4 to 6 power phases are going to be dedicated to the GPU itself. What reason why there's a problem with that is it's not as clean, so you're not going to be nearly as efficient delivering power, and oftentimes you're really limited on how much power you can deliver through 4 power phases versus something like 8 to 10. And same thing with especially with the VRM, having 1 power phase versus 2 or 3. And correct me if I'm wrong, I may not be 100% correct on this one, but can definitely make a difference with delivering power cleanly, which will then allow for more stability and better overclocks. Um, 71 degrees for a GPU is fine. That's well within acceptable tolerance. Generally speaking, you're going to want to stay under 85 for long-term use. Now, the reason why I'm giving you such a high number is because, unlike CPUs, GPUs aren't current as long. So you're going to get anywhere from 2 to 4 years of usable life out of that graphics card before you're going to upgrade it. Because, you go back 4 years ago, right? So I did a video, GTX 770 versus RX 480. 4 years ago, the GTX 770 was pretty much the king. I believe the 780 actually just came out when I did that video. But that was a $400 graphics card. And I compared it to a current generation $230 graphics card. And the 770 was literally half, not even. Like in some games, it was less than half as powerful as the RX 580. So replacing GPU lifespan is not as important. So the reason why the temperature is not as big of a deal is higher heat will shorten the lifespan of an electronic component. So that's why we don't like things that overheat, because when you start hitting 90, 100 degrees Celsius on a core piece of silicon for long periods of time, it's gonna drastically wear out faster. The transistors and everything are gonna, I don't know what happens if they degrade faster, I guess is the proper terminology. So But honestly, graphics cards really aren't meant to be used much more than, 3 to 5 years. You go back to a 5-year-old graphics card, you're not gaming on that in 2017. At least nothing relevant at that point. Whereas, going back to 2011, Sandy Bridge i7 went overclock and still performed well enough where you probably wouldn't even consider replacing it. Because the thing is with AMD being as stagnant as they were with lack of good architecture on their CPUs, Intel's basically done nothing but increase power efficiency and instructions per clock by 5% generation over generation. So, well, I've been very ranty today. I'm sorry, guys. Hopefully I'm giving you guys good information. Yeah, Founders Edition isn't bad. It's still a reference design, but at that price, that's definitely worth it. That's annoying. And I've definitely had a lot of you guys in my stream this evening, so I'm definitely, I really appreciate you guys coming in and asking questions and interacting and stuff like that. It definitely means a lot. Okay, we switch back to blood because I'm going to need to see which one I want to pick. Loot specialization should be blood. There we go. So I'll definitely get that one. Yeah, I saw that, which is the only reason why I've considered buying the Vega card. But at the same time, if it's any good, I don't want to get rid of it. So, you want to talk about a catch-22. What the hell am I doing? Apparently I'm in the water here. But, yeah, that's what I'm worried about is, wait. No, that was the right way. What am I doing? Apparently, that's mine. I do have to go up here. Okay, we're good. But I want to get Vega, but like if that's going to happen, like that's going to stink. You know, I love the idea of mining, right? You know, the idea that, not even so much idea of mining, but the idea of using these really powerful computers that people like myself and my fiance and a lot of you guys have or will have or have had, that where you can lend your resources to other things other than, you know, your primary reasons. So cancer research, folding at home, everything like that, and then mining. I find it really interesting. The problem is that, you know, I'm a PC enthusiast and it's hard for me to build. It's hard for me to recommend when there's no graphics cards in stock, and the ones that are costing twice as much as what they used to, where you pretty much can have to get either an entry level, a lower mid-level card or a high-end card. There's nothing in between, and that makes it very hard to build. You know, all of a sudden your $800 computer becomes a $1,000 or $1,100 computer just because prices are overly inflated. What was it? 794, getting up there. I mean, you're right, but you know, people are speculating, so I mean, rumors do happen, and you know, you can never know what the truth is until you're there. So. Streams are going on for about an hour and a half. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to wrap this up here in a minute. Just I do want to get to bed tonight at some point. But yeah, if anybody here purchases anything from Amazon, especially anything that I recommend in any of my videos, you know, Amazon affiliate link doesn't do anything for you guys, doesn't cost you anything. You don't send me any money direct. Amazon sends it to me for recommending you to them. So, not to say that Amazon is the best place to buy parts. They do charge sales tax, and Newegg does not. But that's a little slower horseman. Start doing this here. But yeah, if you guys don't mind helping me out, that's never a bad thing. Okay. I like that. There we go. Where am I going here? Nope, nope, nope. There we go. Cool. Almost towards my first artifact. Oh, apparently I have that too. I have the book compendium, so once I hit 110, I should be able to pretty much max it out ASAP, so that'll be good. Let me go sell everything here that I don't need. High level. 768, nice. I think I'm going to try to stream Saturday evenings, definitely, and maybe another day during the week as well. But Saturday evening I've streamed before and I've had good success, so I really appreciate everybody tuning in. You know, I strongly encourage people to put out their information, their opinions, ask questions, bring up tech topics. Anything that I can't answer that I have to research is great. I'm always okay with that. I love to learn, I love to teach, I love to discuss. But really appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, this is Steve from PC Budget Solutions. I'll see you guys later on down the road.